Kathy Burns, and I'm here with George Gately of Succeeds Where It Counts.
Thank you.
And we're here to talk to him about his company and what he has to offer, and explain how it really helps families get a college education that's affordable. And I know I've heard you say that it's important to graduate on time,
Yeah.
and that's a big component too. So we'll discuss all that.
Okay.
And after we get going with George and you watch this video, we'd love for you to like our video and share it with others and leave your comments below, because we're going to be doing more videos like this. So George, can you just kind of give us a little scoop of who you are, a little background about you?
Well, thank you. I think the things I'm most proud of is I'm a parent and a grandparent, and my work as a independent educational counselor is really driven out of personal experience, as well as a passion to help families manage one of the most expensive purchases of their lifetime, which is the cost of sending children to college.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it is. So
It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming, but I really enjoy helping people. I enjoy working with the teenagers. To me, they're a lot of fun, but that's because it's not my teenager.
Yeah, good point, good point. Well, what do you think your core message is, in a nutshell, with your business, of what you're trying to help parents understand, and grandparents too?
Yeah. In a nutshell, Kathy, it's that college is a consumer purchase. These are our children, and in my case, grandchildren. We are so emotionally attached to them that sometimes the rational part of our brain gets turned off because we want to please them, we want everything to turn out well. But college is a consumer purchase. It's very expensive. Colleges are big business. They go through hundreds of millions of dollars a year in cash flow. And they're selling higher education services. Parents are the customers. Now, there's a common objective, which is everybody wants the student to graduate in 4 years and be successful in life. But nevertheless, the colleges are selling their services on their terms for their reasons, and parents need to be aware of that.
So, and how you help them then, I guess, is figure it all out. So, what are some of the hidden costs? And I know that there's a lot of hidden costs, and I know that there's options for people, and so that's where you come in.
Yes, thank you. Well, one of the hidden costs is people often say to me, well, the tuition at such and such a school is only this much, or my child has gotten a full tuition scholarship. And that's wonderful when tuition assistance is received, but tuition typically is only about 40% of the cost.
Of the total cost?
Of the total cost.
Okay.
Of in-state colleges, we're in North Carolina, so to go to a North Carolina college, tuition's only about 40% of the total cost. So even if a student gets a 40% or a full tuition scholarship, that's only 40%. There's still 60% of the bill left to pay, for which there typically are no scholarships. There is financial assistance in the form of loans, and that brings me to the second hidden cost. Unfortunately, educational loans are very easy to get. For the parents, they are credit-based loans, but the terms are much more lenient than, for example, applying for a mortgage,
Right.
in terms of income to debt and things like that. And they are incremental loans. You borrow them 6 months at a time.
Really?
Yes, you borrow for the first semester, then you borrow for the second semester, and then after 4 years or 5 years, or the reality is for more than half of America, 6 years, it ends up being a lot more money than you thought. And the debt is amortized over 10 years. So the other hidden cost people don't realize is by the time they repay all that money, it's a lot more than what they thought day one.
Sure.
And then the third hidden cost is what very few people think of, and that's opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is what a dollar could have done for you if invested and compounding annually versus losing it or spending it. So to give an example of opportunity costs, if colleges in North Carolina are about $25,000 a year, that's the sticker price. 4 years, that's $100,000. Well, if you, instead of spending that money, sending your child to college, invested that money for your child at 7% interest, at the end of 50 years, it would be worth $3 million.
Wow.
So as a parent, now, in retrospect, I look back and think, would I rather have given my children a college education or a retirement nest egg worth $3 million? I'm not saying don't go to college.
Right.
But what I am saying to parents is we have to understand what a college education really costs.
Right.
And when people begin to understand it, it changes the way they engage the college selection process.
Right. So I know that you do things that are different. Well, first of all, tell us about how coaching comes into play with you on that, because you're coaching the parents, I'm assuming, or grandparents,
Yeah.
who's ever purchasing the college tuition, right?
And I'm coaching the student.
Oh, the student.
Because I came across a quote by Billy Martin, who was a Hall of Fame, New York Yankee Hall of Fame baseball player, and he was also the coach of the Yankees for years. He said, a coach is a man who gets men to do what they never want to do in order to become what they've always wanted to be. College applications, college searching, financial aid can be very tedious, and I can tell you there's a lot of avoidance and procrastination behavior.
Sure.
What I do as a coach, one thing is help people stay on track,
Ah.
stay on task, get this done. College is coming, the months are ticking off. The second thing is I help the student engage in the process, because at the end of the day, it's their life. It's the rest of their adult life being influenced by the choice of where they go to college and what they major in,
Sure.
and how well they do in that.
Yeah.
So they have to be coached to know what to focus on and what is less important, what is more important, and then also just to stay on task to get the work done.
Sure.
It's kind of like the due diligence of buying a house.
Yeah.
People find their dream home, and the due diligence is sort of a little ambivalent, because what if it turns out that's not a good house for them?
Right,
Or
right.
what if it turns out, it's beyond their affordability? Well, these are exactly the same issues
Sure.
that we address in college.
Right.
Students have a dream college. Might not be the best college for them, and it may be more expensive than what they really plan to pay.
Is that part of the coaching where you're helping the parents as well as the kids kind of figure out, like really investigating with the kids, what is it that you really think that you want to do?
Yes.
And kind of teaming up the best college that relates to it?
Yeah, we start with a think of 40, not 4. The conversation always begins, where do you want to go to college? But I quickly transition it to, what are you going to do after you graduate from college?
Right.
Let's think about the 40 years of your career, not just the 4 years of your college.
Yes.
So we begin with the end in mind, absolutely.
Right.
And then the other thing we do is we work with parents so that, because I'm dispassionate about it, it's not my money, it's not my child.
Sure.
So I can help the parents become very rational and realistic about what they truly can afford.
Yeah.
And then I can help the student accommodate the realities of their family situation and maybe relieve some of that guilt or some of that avoidance of conversation.
Right. Do you kind of help the families figure out what the pricing is, or some additional scholarships and different benefits at the different schools as well?
Yeah, there are strategies for keeping costs down. Again, I say to people, I can't make it free, but together we can make it affordable. And that together is very important. We
Sure.
have to have adult conversations
Sure.
about costs.
Right. That makes sense. Who are typically your clients that you'd say? Is it just the parents? Or I know in my case I started looking as a grandparent.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the grandparents actually have some of the money that they
Yeah.
can help more than the parents do.
Yeah, the ideal client for me is a family with parents with a child in high school.
High school, what year?
Well, 10th grade is where I like to start. So
Okay.
it's a little bit of a moving target. This is the month of February. So right now, 10th grader is perfect for me.
Okay.
But in September, it'll be an 11th grader, because the 10th graders will be 11th grade.
Right.
And it'll be a little early for a 10th grader, but right on time for an 11th grader.
Uh-huh.
Seniors, it's all over. They're done, so there's
Uh-huh.
not a lot I can do for them.
Right.
9th grade tends to be a little early.
And you say that, I remember when you and I were talking about
Uh-huh.
my grandson, you said it was because of the classes that they're choosing to take and how it affects them for college, right?
Well, that's as well. One of the keys to getting admitted to a school that of your choice is what's called academic rigor. So the colleges are looking at the student's academic rigor of the transcript, not just the grade.
Uh-huh.
So a student who has a higher GPA but very easy classes is not considered as prepared
Sure.
as a child who took very difficult classes and maybe made B's and C's, but the level of challenge was very high.
Ah.
And so they've demonstrated their ability to do college level work.
I know this is off topic, but do you, when you meet with the kids, do you have them do some sort of analysis where they fill out like a questionnaire and you kind of figure out even what they think that they want? Maybe you're more inclined to go this way. Have you thought about this? Is that something that you do?
Well, we actually have our students take a professional career assessment.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that is, it's produces a 56-page report, which is a little overwhelming to a 16, 17-year-old.
Yes.
But it not only identifies career directions, obviously not specific jobs,
Sure.
but career directions, and it gives a basis to me to help guide them through the college selection process.
Yes.
There is a difference between going to a school with 60,000 undergraduate students and 6,000 undergraduate
Oh, I would
students. And some people are wired for the big impersonal campus, and some like the personal attention of being known by first name and all of that.
Sure.
So
And that comes out in like in that
it-
analysis.
it
yeah.
emerges like the flowers in
Yeah.
springtime.
That's great. So what are some of the, let's see, I'm just trying to stay on target here, expectations that a parent could have?
Well, the simplest way for me to help people understand what it is I give them in exchange for the fee I charge is I give the parents choice,
Right.
because it is a consumer purchase.
Right.
And if you only have one choice, that's really not a choice at all. You're forced to do this. But when they have several colleges, 3 or 4 colleges to choose among as the payor,
Right.
and I give the students confidence. The number one surprise for me coming into this business about 7 years ago was how insecure teenagers are about college.
Really?
It surprised me.
Huh.
And they don't know what to major in. They're worried about not being
Sure.
academically successful. They're worried about the costs, even though they realize mom and dad are probably going to pay most of it. They're sensitive. They don't want mom and dad to be financially overwhelmed by it. And I give them confidence that, first of all, where they're going, they have really done the work and they know this is a great choice for them. Second, what they're going to major in. My students know before they ever even move into the dorm what they're going to major in and graduate with. Now that may change along the way, but it's probably not going to change too much. It's probably not going to change from engineering to elementary education, for example. And then the third is their confidence that they're on a career track from day one, not just in this sort of unrealistic
Limbo
world.
almost,
Yeah,
yeah.
Of the college student who has no responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then life becomes very threatening to them because as graduation gets closer and closer, the reality of leaving this very idealistic environment, it can be very disturbing.
Sure. So I know that you've talked before, I've heard you mention on time. So
Yes.
what's that about? Because you mentioned before that so many go in with thinking that they're going there for 4 years, but it could be 5 or 6, because they're not making quality decisions, it seems like, of their choices. So I think that whole analysis that you do where you're meeting with the family and the student fills this all out helps hone that in. Is that kind of the feel that does and helps them have a track?
Well, it's like anything else, Kathy. If somebody comes to you and says, I just want to buy a house, it's very
Right.
difficult to find that.
Sure.
But if they give you a very accurate description of what they're looking for, it's simpler to find it.
Right.
Well, a coalition of 33 states governors in 2014 commissioned a white paper called Complete College America, because they were realizing that the graduation rates at their own state colleges was dismal, and they couldn't understand why. So they did a white paper, and what they found out verified their perception, which is less than half of the students, in fact, only about a third of their students were graduating in 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Less than half were graduating in 6 years.
Oh, my gosh.
And the number one reason for the delay in graduation, the number one reason was change of colleges, transferring from one college to the other. And the second and sort of corollary reason was change of majors, which often is the reason students change college. So by being very diligent and deliberate in the college selection process, I give my students confidence that by having looked at a dozen or more colleges in great detail, up close and personal, when they finally select the one, they have confidence in that.
Sure.
And then with this career assessment tool, they see themselves through third-party eyes, scientifically based data, that they can really depend on. This is who I am, this is the way I'm wired, this
Right.
is the kind of work and career that is going to fulfill me and excite me and stimulate me. And then what major should you have in order to pursue that career?
Right.
So there's this confidence level that helps them stay on track from day one. And so far, I'm really bragging on my students, not on me, but my students are graduating. In fact, I just had one who graduated in 3.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And she really didn't overload her schedule. She just stayed on track and kept her nose to the grindstone and got it done. So
Right.
it can be done, but it's not going to be done by accident.
Right, on purpose, which is what anything successful happens.
Absolutely.
So tell us how your part of it works. So you're paid a fee. I think someone could probably meet with you up front to kind of understand your process a little bit
Right.
more, almost like this video is explaining it. And so then you probably have an initial visit. But then once you've explained your fee and how that works, is it a one-time fee or how does that work, George?
Well, I do. Some people in my business have hourly rates. Some people have packages, this package, that package. I'm a simple guy. I think simply what I do is what I do, and I have a track record that I think validates what I do. So I have a fee, and it is from the day we begin until the student completes their first year of college.
Oh, excellent.
And that summer, when they come home, I meet with them and I ask them this question: are you happy and are you going back? And so far, knock on wood, they've all said yes, I love it there, I'm going back.
Good.
And then I tell the parents I'm done because I did what I promised.
Yes.
I got them into a college they love, they're on track, and barring some freak thing like a illness or something, they're going to graduate in 4 years.
Wonderful.
And so I just charge one flat fee, and it's really, I found out from a prospective client who had been doing some research, told me that I was a little bit below market, so I may have to fix that. But
Well, that's great. I really appreciate your time, George.
Well, thank you.
And George, we're succeed where it counts,
Thank you.
and I really think it's beneficial. There's a lot of people that don't even know that this is an option.
it's true.
So I really want to encourage everybody watching this, kind of listen to it. If you know anybody that's got a 10th grader or 11th grader who's planning on sending their kids to college, this is important information, and get in touch with George because I think he can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, George.